Hello there, thanks for stopping by. Welcome to Messing About with a Narrowboat. So we're back at the boat. It's actually a weekend. We're just doing wee bits. So we've put all the switches and sockets back on the wall. We've already done one coat of the top coat on that bulkhead where we cut the hole out for the toilet. We're just going to do the bathroom, just give that a bit of a tidy up because we've scratched it a bit. Just a bit heavy handed, really, like there and over there.
I got all the good jobs. I'm in here, been out partying last night.
Yeah, so you have.
Made to get out of my bed.
Well, we've got to get this painted so I can get the plumbing pipes. I wrecked it a bit when we were doing the initial days.
It's fine.
This week's job is final prep for the plumbing, which means getting this bow bulkhead finished and getting it lined and getting some framework built for the bed, the headboard. If we don't do it now, when the water tank goes up against the bow, there'll be so little room to manoeuvre. That's the plan then for this week. Get all of that done. Look,
Polish, even if it's blue.
Roma's brought matching gloves for the paint.
I'm very particular.
Purple gloves and purple paint.
Purple gloves I wear at work.
Yeah, but you haven't stolen these ones.
No, I have not. Thank you for that. That's not what I meant. And no, of course not.
You missed a bit.
Where?
See that green bit there?
Yes, isn't that?
Yeah, the stud wall's going there.
Okay, fine. Right, I'll paint that bit. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
There you go.
Because the stud wall went on the top of a
How's
plank.
that? Fine.
So paint
Right,
that bit.
paint that bit. Okay, fine.
And if you're at all interested, we're back to the Rust-Oleum kitchen cupboard paint. And this colour is Blue River.
Nice. Nice colour.
It's bin day.
I got a great job.
So for the bow, I'm going to do some oak lining of the window here. I've got the oak, so we can cut that in a minute. I haven't covered these up because we've been waiting to see what we do. Initially we thought of like building a cupboard.
It might, yeah, you just think it might
But we think
stick
it's
out
just
too
going to
much.
be too much.
Because the head of the bed will be
So what we're going to do is
close.
we're going to, because this is quite wide out, and I don't really want to take it off. It's the air vents which are ducting down the bottom. I guess I could take it off and just leave that and let the air go down naturally. But what we'll do is we'll box it in.
Yeah, definitely better
And
boxed
we'll
in.
build a couple of shelves,
yeah.
like a shelf here for books or plant or
Yeah,
something, make it look
yeah.
pretty.
Yeah, just little knickknacks.
Here, I'll get a straight bit of wood. Here, we're going to have quite a wide window ledge.
Yeah,
There
quite
are a
wide.
couple of reasons for it. One is we've got the space, so I'm going to build a headboard with drawers in it. Because this is like dead space. The water tank goes right up against there, so there's a whole chunk of unusable space here. So if we have a headboard, actually it'll come out to about there.
That'd be fine, and
And then the cat
might get his
sit
backside on
flat
that.
arse on
Yeah,
it and
might be able to
look out the
squeeze.
window.
Oh, squeeze, yeah, squeeze on there.
So what I'll do is I'll make like it's not a very big drawer, but it's a little drawer can be there, and then drawers along here for stuff.
Yeah, stuff usually say.
And the reason I haven't finished it is this side, the breather from the water tank, which we'll do when we show the water tank, comes up, routed round here, and the breather will go out here. And I'll cover the reasons for that when we do the water tank bit, but that's rather than a breather out here.
Yeah, sticking out.
There's reasons why it can't go there. A bloody big rib for one. So that's what we're going to do, I think, is we will box that in very, very lightly. That gives enough room for the pipe work behind it.
Okay.
It means I can make that panel there removable, so you can pop it off if we ever need to get to the pipe work. The horn light and nav light, I've screwed that one, the wires are here, so that makes that access serviceable. I could move it over there and it's even more serviceable because I can pop that off. But that's the plan. That's the plan, is now to start the headboard.
Woodworking and...
I've already started, I've drawn up what we're doing with the bed. We're going to make an ottoman bed and lift it up. That's kind of the other reason for that extra space, because when an ottoman bed lifts up, it has a tendency to sink down, depending on the brackets that you use. So a whole bunch of stuff. The complicated bit has been figuring out how I'm going to get the drawers in, because there's a big expanse here, a metre of essentially unsupported wood. So,
yeah,
and there'll be a centre line for the bed struts. So yeah, I've figured all of that out. We'll go through that later. But that's the plan. Start closing all of this up, build a frame for the drawers, for the headboard, and then we can slide the water tank in.
Sounds like a good plan.
That's why we painted everywhere, because trying to paint after we've done all of this would just be difficult.
Can't get anywhere
I need to
near
go
it.
and get the roof lining in as well, because if you come round here, you can see the edge of the water tank basically goes there. So it's completely dead space.
Yeah, nice, isn't it? Wicked.
And then trying to get in this tiny little space to put some screws in, it's going to be a bit tight. So that's the other thing I've got to do, is get the roof done. Okay, that's plan for the next mini project bit.
Foreseeable.
So we have a lovely bit of oak for the window trims, so we're just cutting it to size and keeping all the wood shavings, because the wood shavings mixed with glue will make a colour matched filler.
Yeah, good idea.
Right, a bit of oak. Not quite on that one. Absolutely peachy on that
Oh, well,
one.
that's good then.
So it just needs a wee bit of... I'll cut the next one. That's going to look fab.
Right.
That is just going to look brilliant, isn't it?
That's going to look really, that is looking lovely already.
It is.
That's good. So we use that as a
Yeah.
template for the next one.
This side is just... Yeah, it's just...
Why is that? It's so
That's
strange,
because they're
isn't
just,
it?
you know...
It's not symmetrical.
You're cutting a bit of metal. You can't get it perfect. So a little while later, we have
Yeah, I'm looking.
cut and trimmed them.
Yeah. It's looking really
So,
nice.
Needs a good sand up. I've left enough room for the mastic to go in, to glue it on. I'm not going to drill it in, I'm just going to glue them in.
Yeah.
And
Look terrible otherwise.
just need to pick snibs. What do you call snibs in English? Barrel bolts.
Barrel bolts, yeah.
Snib.
Snib bolts.
Get the snib over.
Yeah.
The window sticks out a little bit, so I might sand it back just a wee bit in that corner. It's just a little proud.
A little bit of paint, yeah. It's a bit thick.
Yeah, you can see it. It's where I put thick paint on.
But once you put the snib on, it'll shut. It'll help it shut.
Yeah, it will hold it shut nicely. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Very cool.
Right, I think that's enough for today. So it's a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
That's enough for today.
Done. It's a good few jobs today, I think, yeah.
Time to go grocery shopping.
Lunch first.
I'm very, very, very pleased with that. So the only... I can't get it out now.
Yeah, you can.
So
Okay.
I'm going to pull it together with pocket hole screws in the back.
Okay.
I'll pop some pocket hole screws in there, but I'll do that. It just needs a bit sanded. I had to plane that edge a little bit just to shim it in. I think we'll call it quits for today.
Yeah, we've done really well. We've been here for...
I now know it takes me about an hour to cut this, so I can do the other one tomorrow.
Back?
I'm not here tomorrow.
Oh.
No.
You're the really whenever.
When I'm back.
When you're back. Okay then.
And I brought the first frame home to my garage where I can sand it and stain it. It's a bit warmer, so actually I'm probably going to do the staining and waxing on the inside of the house just because it's warmer. It will dry better. That's a good day's work, that. Getting one window done. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 still to go. So we ordered some barrel bolts for window locks. I might have got the size wrong. Mistake. Well, they're going back. So it's been a good few days since we were last out the boat. I've been away on a course doing some stuff. It's going to be a bit of a short week now. First thing to do is switch on the heater and it packed up. Hey, great, fine. Well, the heater works, so just the fan won't move anymore. I might have a look at it and see if, once the motor burns out, that's it, it's buggered, throw it away, buy a new one. Let's get these lining in that I cut. Now in the end I didn't varnish them up, I thought I'd bring it down and actually fit it, screw it all up together, and then I can varnish the whole thing all joined up. Like that, so I can see, I can see straight away that I probably need to take a wee bit more off of here, just to allow room for the glue to get in. There's a little bit of room there, but it's not little shim. It's not enough to get a little 1mm shim in. So, given it needs a bead of glue, trim some of it off. Yeah, the bottom's fine. The left side is fine. The top is, Yeah, it's fine. Just needs a wee bit of trimming off. And back to the shim. Sure it all lines up. Yeah, so we'll plane a millimetre off of this side, and I can tie it all to the bottom. Perfect. Let's go and put some screws in it. A lot of boat movements outside. Anyway, spot the bloody error. I split the wood. I can't believe I split the wood. A spot of glue will fix it, but I'm really annoyed. So that's it up. I'll give it a sand. It's just a tiny wee bit proud. So maybe a sand, maybe a light plane on the side. But the next thing I need to figure out is, if you look here, is the doors aren't a brilliant fit. Okay, goes down nice and tight in the corner, but here not so tight. There's a good 7 or 8 mil gap. Now inevitably when we close the door, that will close up, and I can taper it off at the end with just sanding it. But I'm kind of concerned that if I put a weathering strip along here, it will make the door more difficult to close, because it is pretty jammed up in there. So I'm trying to figure out if I need to put like a lip here with a weathering strip on it, you know, something like that stick-on D-shaped weather strip, or maybe something a bit more robust, which is Aquamac, you know, one of those fit-in weather strip things. But to do an Aquamac, or to do any weathering strip, it needs to come up well above this window, so maybe about 15 mil high. But actually it's not bad. I think we could go with the weathering strip on the window ledge, really, like that. The downside again is that instead of the bolt being straight down, it's going to have to be cranked to come over the weathering strip. Okay, figure that one out. That makes sense. It's difficult to see really, but yeah, if the window ledge was here, it needs a weathering, almost like a doorstop type shape. It needs it about there. If I put the headboard, if I put the window ledge here, that's nearly 30 mil. Sorry, camera. That's nearly 30 mil. So add another 15 mil, you got a 45 mil bit of oak, which isn't the cheapest thing on the planet. Okay, let me think about that. So why are the doors not fitting flush in the window well? Well, there's a few reasons. One is that the welds in the window aren't flush, and it's slightly out of shape. So this one's a bit more forward than that one. Another reason is kind of thickness of the paint. I'm wondering if the hinge We already said the hinges have got very little tolerance, but I'm wondering if the hinge is too far this way a bit, and maybe if I push it out, it'll sort it. Because you can see here, look, see the big gap. I don't quite know how to fix that. It is jammed up quite tight on it. If I try and bend the hinge backwards, I risk breaking the weld, which I really don't want to do. So, not entirely sure how to resolve that, actually. Logic says the hinge is too close, so push it out and it'll kind of straighten itself out. Tried kind of straightening this edge because it was quite an acute angle, but then that's an acute angle as well. This edge here has definitely got a bend in it. And this is kind of the same on the other side. I could do I push the hinges out, and that will resolve some of that issue. I definitely want to get it as close as I can, because if I put a weather seal on it, it's a massive big gap. Even pulling it closed, there's still a massive big gap. So I'm not even sure the weathering strip would do the job. And there's so little tolerance between the doors. Now I've got the lining up, that's not closing, it's jamming somewhere. Oh yeah, up there. So that's being pushed out. Okay, a little while later, and a bit of heavy use of the persuader. I've damaged the paint a wee bit, but I can touch that up. So I've sanded in the corners. I think it was jamming there, and then what I've done is I've hit the hinge with a hammer to push it out a bit. And it's a bit better fitting. It doesn't feel like it's catching now. I think we could still bend in here. Up here I think it's still a bit, could do with a bit of bending. Just there. But if I'm really honest, I don't want to risk belting it with a hammer. There's a big bit of glass in it. See, that one's twisted, so let's see if we can. Right, but I did chip the paint a wee bit. Yeah, that's resolved it completely. Yeah. Not catching, it's not jamming. Yeah, so the hinge just needed to come out a little bit, but I did ding the paint. A job for later when I do the painting again. It's just a wee touch up. And I had to sand in that corner because there was a big blob of paint in there. Right. Let's see if the window fits. Well, it's still a bit tight. Partly that because this is sticking out a wee bit. It kind of needs sanded in. But yeah. Yeah, okay. It will need some kind of draft seal on it. But I think when I'm sanding I can taper that end in because it's just that corner that's making it stick out. Yeah, I know there's lining on it which will mostly come off. Now when I put the frame up, I am going to have some lining on the back of it to create a thermal barrier, and that gives me an edge for glue as well, but I think we'll still keep the insulation on the back of the wood. But let's see if it's any better. I keep looking at that. Right, on the next side I'll make sure I drill it in. Yeah, okay, that's all it was. That's it. That's a bit of it. Wee bit up there. Yeah. Okay, so it just needs a bit tapered in there when we're sanding because there's it kind of curves a little bit. This. I don't want to go and start hitting all of the paintwork and metalwork with a bloody big hammer. Yeah, I can see it bows a little bit here. Okay. So a short while later and that one's in, but the window won't close. I just can't figure that out. I can see it's jamming up there, so it's obviously too thick, but you know. And I cut it too short. Somehow I've cut it too short. Now I've dry fitted this and I've measured it, and then when I assembled it all together, it's about 7mm too short. I don't know. I don't know what I've done. I could cheat. I could fill it up with mastic and probably nobody would notice because it's behind there.
That's an option, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh.
I do know what I've done. I can see it. Trimmed that too short. Because that's the amount of total space needed either side for mastic, and it's jammed up to the side. Oh, I've messed this one up. Bit of head scratching. When I was planing these to get them nice and neat, I've taken just a wee bit too much off them. Don't know why it doesn't shut though. Looks like it's pushing on it. Right, I need to make 2 more of them. I thought I was quite good at carpentry. Many hours later, I've put couple of new styles in it. It's closing, sort of. But this isn't square. The window isn't square on, which is why it's been giving me a bit of grief. I've just got a wee bit of trimming to do in there. First time I put it in, wouldn't fit at all, and I'm going, hang on, I dry fitted that, it was fine. But when I put all the screws in, it locked it all up nice and square. And that's when I realised that it's just, the door isn't square. I suppose it's inevitable, but God, it's taken me 4 hours.
I know, but you want
4 hours.
Yeah, but you want to get it
to
right.
put in 8 screws.
Yes, but you just had to measure and remeasure it. So.
Right. Start though. So I'll come back tomorrow. It needs a little bit of, just a little bit off of this edge. I'll probably sand that more than trying to cut it. And then I'll just give it a nice even sanding. For some reason, my bad pocket screwing, it wouldn't moved a wee bit when I put the pocket hole screws in. But, you know, nothing a bit of sanding. I thought about planing it, but a wee bit of sanding will fix all of that tomorrow. And then we can take them away and varnish them up.
You know which side's which?
Yeah, they only go one way.
Really?
Yeah. Really? No, because that's the thin side, that's the thick side.
Okay,
Only go one way.
You've been framed.
Oh dear. I thought I did the dad jokes. Right, tomorrow we'll finish trimming this up. It just needs a wee bit of fettling, and that'll be that.
Right.
Anyway, while I was cursing and swearing at the window frame,
Put me off with British books.
Roma painted the bathroom part.
Yeah.
Right, it's the next day. I've sanded it in, fettled it in, and it shuts. It shuts perfectly. Just exactly what I wanted. No gap down here. So that was quite rough sanding with 80 grit, so I'm now going to go over it with 120 and smooth it all over. I still can't get this door to shut properly, so any idea how I can resolve this, let me know in the comments. Brilliant. That's the other one up. That's lovely. That is really nice. It's sticking out a wee bit. That's the foil that's doing that. Yeah, it won't. Until I can get this thing closing correctly, it's always going to be sticking out a bit. Apart from that, that's okay. I can go up and varnish them because the sticky out bit isn't to do with the wood. You can see it. It's just caught the paint. I've sanded a lot of the paint off, but it's still catching. Right, I'm not going to fuss about that just now because it's quite irritating. Yeah, see. It's catching on the paint, you can see little bits of blue paint. A nice pocket holes. So, paint. It's loud with the windows open, isn't it? I'm just going to fill those pocket holes in. I've got a bit of oak pocket hole filler plugs. I'll fill that in because they're on the hidden part of the window, but there'll be moisture in there from condensation, so I'm going to plug them up. You don't normally have to do that. With pocket hole screws, it's only where it's on show, but just to protect it. Right, I'm going to close up, have a break. So the plugs are smoothed off and sanded. Time to give it a coat of Osmo Poly Oil Clear Matte. Now, only because it was recommended to me, there's a gazillion different dyes and varnishes and stains, and I started to look at them and went, no idea. So this one was recommended, so that's what we're going for. Apparently it's really good for windowsills, not so good for worktops because it's not food safe. There's a different product for that. But for windowsills and places that get a little drips and stuff like that, the Poly X or Pollux oil is the bee's knees, apparently. I'm sure there are other stains and varnishes that will do just as good, but you know, go with what you were recommended. So we'll do it on the back first. Apparently you only need a little drop. You put it in and then any excess you wipe off. Well, that's lovely. It really enhances the wood. Doing it one-handed, apologies. That's nice, isn't it? That's nice. It will dry matte, obviously. Right, let's crack on. Now the application guide said let it sit for a bit and then wipe off any excess. So it's had a couple of minutes. We're wiping off the excess. Although to be fair, there isn't much. Let it kind of soak in evenly. Okay. Right, a couple of minutes later, that's done, and it's got a 10-hour drying time, and then we'll give it a light sand. So Roma and I have been looking around for ages for a stain, a varnish for the wood. We wanted to darken it a bit from the white oak, but we didn't want it to go really dark oak. So we got a couple of sample pots, and most of them were pretty rubbish. Not rubbish, that's the wrong word. Not what we wanted. I think the first coat would go on okay, and then you put another coat on and it got too dark. So I guess you could put a clear coat on top of it. So we were chatting away. We went down to a decorator centre, not a DIY shop, a proper trade decorator centre. I think it was Dulux or Colourwise or one of those things. And we got talking to the guy at the counter. Girl at the counter, actually. And yeah, she recommended the Osmo product. Apparently you don't need a lot. You don't really need to wipe it off, but they kind of recommend it. And it will need at least 2 coats. So between each coat, give it a really light sanding with like a little scrubbing pad, around about 600 grit, 400 grit. So you're not scratching it, you're just denibbing it. So we'll show you that when it'll be 10 hours now before that's dry. Really pleased with it though. Really nice. It's brought out the natural grain in the wood, which is exactly what we wanted. We wanted to show off the nice oak without staining it too dark. To be fair, I told them what I wanted, and she said, well, you only need this wee drop, so try that, rather than going spending money on a bigger tin. She said, that'll do your 4 windows here. That'll do them quite happily. And she's not kidding. Not kidding at all. Hardly used any of it. What do you think? Nice? Well, a successful end to a couple of days of frustration. Again, I think inexperience. Don't know what's wrong with those windows. Roma and I were talking about it, and I can't actually recall those windows ever shutting properly. And then when we came along and painted it, obviously some paint's got in the corner and jarred it open, but I've taken all of that away and I've bent the hinge, and it's the port side is shutting perfectly, the starboard side isn't, and no matter what I do, it kind of closes. It's fine at the top, at the bottom it's not, and it just springs open again, which it shouldn't do. I'm tempted to go and hit it with an angle grinder, but I really don't want to do that. That would be counterproductive, I think. I was going to ask the guys here at the boatyard, but they're just so busy. Maybe I'll catch them. So, a short one this week. Quite a long video, but for us it's only been 2 days. Got a bit frustrated yesterday with the, you cut out the frame, you put the pocket hole screws in, and it no longer fits. Even though the frame is square, it turns out the window cutout isn't. So today was just off camera because there really wasn't much point in showing me planing and sanding and nibbling a little bit away and getting it right. But it's done. That's the main thing. It's done. So that experience tells me the other hatches, I've been through and inspected them. They are peachy. They're fine. They will be fine. Won't have a problem with them. It is just the bow starboard door won't close. Don't know. That's going to bother me now. Right, tonight, YouTube. Why won't my duck hatch, my bow hatch doors close? Right, and then you get lots of adverts for ducks and hatches. Rabbiting. So, look, let's call it quits there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. Great comments last week. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. And we'll see you next time.